Some people have already said that social media is going to be compared to smoking in the future. If you just think about smoking from the viewpoint of a non-addict, smoking looks absolutely, completely ridiculous. As someone who's never smoked before, why in the world would you spend money on something that you then use to kill yourself very slowly by also it just is stupid. I mean, why would you inhale smoke and destroy your lungs and stink up the everywhere you're around? Like, it just sounds completely, utterly ridiculous. Now, I know there's people who are addicted to it and it's kind of whatever. But one thing that smoking has that social media doesn't have is that it kind of looks cool. I mean, I'm a film guy and there's so many films where someone has a cigarette and it just looks kind of cool. I mean, you got the smoke coming out and it looks cool. But social media doesn't even look cool. It's just somebody looking like a complete idiot staring at a piece of glass and just touching it as blue light intoxicates their face. And it just looks dumb. Social media doesn't even have looking cool going for it. But when it comes to social media, and I'm very particularly focusing on Reels and TikTok and YouTube Shorts, just anything that's completely mind-numbing stupidity, focusing on that. But when it comes to social media, it is literally an addiction. There's been past videos where I've called brainstorming an addiction or summarizing an addiction, but this is literally an addiction. The definition of an addiction is a chronic, relapsing medical condition characterized by compulsive, drug-seeking, substance abuse or behaviors like gambling, despite harmful consequences. It involves complex changes to brain circuits related to reward, motivation, memory, resulting in an inability to control impulses despite negative effects on health, work, and relationships. If that doesn't terrify you, then read it one more time, listen to it one more time, send the video back a few seconds, and just think about how social media fits every single one of those things. Like anything, it's okay in moderation. Like, I do not drink alcohol, but if you drink alcohol, it's not going to completely wreck your life. You're not going to instantly become an alcoholic. Now, you do up your chances of you could become one. But when it comes to social media, there's a lot of good going for it. There's things that have been great. People make money off of it, and it's obviously has some positive, cool things. So just like anything, it has to be used in moderation. But when you're addicted to something, you're not using it in moderation. It's destroying your life. So why in the world, why is it socially acceptable? Why is it okay to be on social media and be utterly addicted to it, and it's just okay? Well, here's a couple of reasons. I probably missed a few, so I'd love to see what you think in the comments. But I think the first one is we think it's free. Social media is free. We know that, yeah, it's spying on us and trying to sell us stuff. But if you don't put any really personal information in there and you don't buy anything, then it really is free. It genuinely is free. But that's only if you think about your time as something that's not valuable. There's someone who did a statistic. I really wish I could find it and bring it in. I think it was a TED Talk. And he talked about how if you value your time at $8 an hour, that's a little bit above minimum wage in some states. If it's about $8 an hour, and you would probably say your time is a little more valuable than that, then every time that you are spending on social media, you're not earning $8 an hour. Now, it's not a perfect analogy, and this guy explained it a whole lot better than I could, but technically it worked out to about $2,000 a month that you're paying for social media by it destroying and taking your attention. $2,000. If anything was on your budget that was $2,000, you would probably be looking for a way to cut it. So we say it's free, but it's not really free. The second thing is effects are not visible. Now, I know a lot of addictions, the effects are not really visible, but someone might be isolated a little more, or they might show a physical, something is going to manifest that they're not doing okay. But when it comes to social media, pretty much every single one of the effects are mental, and you can't see it. It's hidden, it's shrouded. And so I think it's socially acceptable to have an addiction that you can't necessarily see the results of. And, everyone else is doing it. So it's affecting them all at the same time. So if one person starts eating carrots and they start turning a little bit orange because they're eating so many carrots, they probably are going to notice and people are going to point it out. But if everybody has carrots and is eating and becoming a little bit orange because they're eating so many carrots, then, of course, it's a silly analogy, but everyone's turning orange at the same time and everyone just kind of gets used to it, no matter how good or how bad it is. So when it comes to social media, when it comes to TikTok, Reels, and Shorts, by looking at them, by staring at them, by using it, we're all having the same effects. And so we don't notice the effects as much in other people. And I also think it's kind of fascinating. We're really good at seeing the effects in other people, but not in ourselves. And we may see it, but there's nothing we can do to stop it because our brain has been completely re-altered by this technology. Remember, it's an addiction. Then, every single age is on it. I think a lot of addictions are things that you have to be a certain age in order to be addicted to, or only people in a certain age bracket are addicted to. Once you get this old, you probably aren't as addicted to it. But when it comes to social media, and specifically Gen Z, of course, is the main target, but there's a lot of people who are addicted to staring at a screen and scrolling, even if it's not specifically social media. We're addicted to screens. We're addicted to anything that moves and that keeps us from thinking about real life. And there's all ages addicted to that. There's people in nursing homes addicted to it. There's people in their 70s. There's people in their 60s. There's people, parents addicted to it. And there's kids. There's Gen Z, of course. There's teenagers. There's young adults. There's college students. Everyone is in some way, maybe not everyone, but every generation has people who are addicted to it. And it's such a mundane addiction. It doesn't seem to do that much. It doesn't seem to be too bad. It's just a couple wasted hours here and there, but it's changing our brain. It's changing our ability to focus. So in a lot of ways, it literally is an addiction because we can't stop. I know people who feel terrible that they can't stop. They know that they're wasting time, but they just cannot stop getting on social media, and they cannot stop just mindlessly scrolling, and they can't focus. It's a literal addiction. We know it's bad for us. So why is it socially acceptable? Well, I think it's a kind of boring answer, but I also think it's a little bit dramatized in a way that might help you think about it just a little bit. Because we think about, going back to the time thing, we think about time as something that's free. And we know it costs money, and we know it's a cost, but it seems like it's free. So imagine that there is a kingdom. It's an amazing kingdom, has a great king, has a lot of great people, but one of the heroes of this kingdom is a knight. He is an elite knight, and his job is to go out and hunt dragons. And so whenever a dragon is getting close, he's sent out. Whenever some peasant out in the fields sees a dragon or sees evidence of a dragon, the knight is sent out, and the knight faces the dragon, and he is very effective at his job. He is a manly man in all the greatest ways possible. He's courageous, and he will go fight the dragons and advance the efforts of the king and the kingdom. And he has a son. This son is young, and he's going out and he's beginning to train. He's coming to get more and more effective. And because he's being trained by the best of the best, there's a good chance that he will be even more effective than his father, the actual knight. And so the knight and knight junior are out conquering dragons and advancing the kingdom and doing incredible work. So the dragons, they have a couple options. One dragon comes up with a really great idea. He's like, I'm just going to go kill the knight. And so he comes in full force, guns a-blazing, the knight's ready. It's not a sneak attack at all. They face it, they fight, and the knight wins because he's really good at his job. Going on full force is not going to work for the dragons. And so another dragon, he's a little craftier. He comes up with an idea. And this idea is to create this thing. We're going to call it liquid. And it's a liquid that actually helps. It helps the knight see everything. He can all of a sudden see through walls. He can all of a sudden see every part of the kingdom if he focuses hard enough. And so he can see the wall, he can see 20 miles away, he can see. And so the dragon plants this little device, this little liquid, and leaves the recipe and just leaves it. Just going to see what's going to happen. And so the knight, he gets it, and at first he's very careful because he knows that by drinking this and seeing it, it's great. But if he were to run out, then he can't completely change all of his combat and strategy. But his son is not quite as wise. And his son, as he's being trained, realizes that this is helpful. And if he drinks this liquid, he can see through walls, he can see far away, he can see when dragons are attacking. It's very, very helpful. And so he starts drinking it. And then citizens, they find this. The citizens of the kingdom find it. And all of a sudden, it just spreads like wildfire. Everyone loves being able to see everything. They can see everything. It's amazing. They can see everything. Of course, there can be some negative uses, but there's a lot of positive uses. They create a few, barriers and things to make sure there's privacy laws and such. But in general, everyone in this kingdom loves this thing that they can see everything. They can see far away, they can see close, they can see friends, they can see different kingdoms, they can see everything. It's amazing. But then the dragon notices, and he just comes to observe. And he comes into the town, and he looks around, and he sees that one of the little peasant kids, he's a little bit overweight and not, very great at school and is kind of there. He can see everything. And then he notices this really smart kid, the knight's son's best friend, and he can also see everything, and he's enjoying just seeing a lot, seeing inside the castle and looking at the treasuries and looking at this and looking at how the horses work and looking out at the farm over there. And then the knight's son, enjoys seeing everything. He enjoys seeing an armory way over here in another kingdom that has some really cool armor. And he enjoys seeing dragons and watching their ways and studying them because he knows it's helpful for fighting dragons in the future. He enjoys seeing. And the knight himself, he has a little bit of the seeing potion. He uses it when he needs to, but he's kept it at bay so that he cannot completely depend on it and rely on it. And so the entire kingdom is using this thing, and it's helping their economy. It's boosting their economy. People are making money off of being able to see, and everyone wants to be able to see. And if you don't see, you're kind of ostracized because everyone wants to be able to see everything. But then the dragons, they just begin slowly encroaching and slowly getting a little bit closer. Everyone can see it, and they're like, we can see it. They're not sneaking up. We got them. But they don't go and fight them. And the dragons just keep getting closer. And this dragon comes in a little closer on this side. And this dragon comes in a little bit closer on this side. And this dragon comes in a little bit closer on this side. And they can see them. The people are going to watch them. They can see what's happening. They even stop the first one. The first one who sits in a peasant's house. All the citizens come. They rally around it. Everyone saw it. They wake up in the middle of the night, come zooming over and save the day. The knight doesn't even have to do anything. The people are empowered. The people can see everything and save the day. And then the next one comes. Then another one comes. Then another one comes. And slowly people just get tired of going to save the day. And so, as everyone enjoys this potion and enjoys this liquid, enjoys seeing and having all these great things, the dragons just keep getting a little bit closer and a little bit closer and a little bit closer. And the knight continues fighting here and there, but he's got less and less help because now people see it and they know what's happening. And if it's an emergency, they'll come in. But every so often, a dragon slips by just a little bit more and a little bit more. Until one day, the dragons are at the city gate and they're all together. And there's not just one. One can be fought off by knight. One can be fought off by some citizens. But it's all the dragons. All the dragons together have completely nullified this kingdom. They haven't given them the ability to see everything and so become incredibly ineffective. They haven't made them bad. They haven't made them slip up. They haven't made them have a moral failure. They haven't destroyed their ability to do anything. They have just distracted them into oblivion. And so as all the citizens are watching and looking at armories and looking at other kingdoms and looking at their neighbors and looking at the king himself and looking everywhere and seeing all this information and learning about armories and treasuries and breweries and different kingdoms and different maps and different treasures, right at their door, the dragons attack and take over and completely wipe out the kingdom. And the knight escapes. He was able to see it. He was able to try and warn, but even his son perishes. And so the knight escapes and begins a new kingdom. And so the story possibly may continue. Who knows what will happen to that knight. But the kingdom itself has perished because they were able to see everything. That's a long story. If you're still watching this far, you totally can pick up on what I'm saying. I don't have to explain it, so I'm not going to explain it. But just know that everyone's potential, the little chubby kid and the really smart kid and the knight's son and the king himself and all the villagers and peasants, they could have done so much. They could have been great people. But all their potential was nullified because of this potion, because of this liquid that gave them the ability to see everything and connect with people. And so when everyone is busy and distracted, nobody does anything useful. Everyone celebrates the time when it helped them save that dragon that one time. But ultimately, the end is not going to be good because it's an addiction. And if you can't get rid of something, if you can't get rid of it, it's not going to work. It's not going to help you in the long run. And so an addiction, in this sense, that is social media, is something that people make money off of. It's helping our economy. It's something that shares news. It has so many good uses that are intertwined because the dragon is really crafty and really smart. And he knows that just a full-on attack isn't going to work. No, instead, in order to make people bad, you can't make them bad. You just make them busy. You can't get them to mess up and let up their guard, but you can get them to let it up piece by piece by piece, little by little by little, by just distracting them in little 10-second bits and pieces of their imagination. And so social media is an addiction, and it's an addiction that's going to do a bunch of harm because no addiction can be a good addiction. An addiction at its core is something that's changing who we are and is messing us up. And we make it so socially acceptable because everyone's doing it. And we realize it's ruining us, and yet we don't do anything to stop it because people are making money off of it. And I'm not some person who hates capitalism. I think it's great, but it is causing a bunch of ruin in this area and this season. And so I don't know if there is a set answer. But I wanted to name the problem and say it out loud and share a little story about how I think it's going to literally wreck and destroy a bunch of people that it hasn't already. And so for that reason, I think it's good to get off social media and delete it because it all starts with one person saying something. And that one night, he realizes he probably should have said something. He probably should have stopped using it completely, because by using it just a little bit, he gave other people permission to use it a lot. And if he had cut it off, if he had set a standard and destroyed it and not ever touched it, or once he had decided he touched it and was not any good, he might have saved the kingdom. And so you have a choice to save the world by stopping it yourself. If you stop it, one other person might stop it. And saving one life is equivalent to saving a whole world. So I'm not saying we can save lives. I don't want to get all melodramatic and crazy. But if you watch this far, just please delete social media. It's not worth it. It's just not.